Alright guys, welcome back to another video of me, Countess. In today's video we are talking about Celtic FIFA 23 ratings predictions. So let's get underway with the first player, and it is Joe Hart, the goalkeeper for Celtic. I see him getting a +2 rating, as he was the best keeper in Scotland last season. He was fantastic, maybe a bit questionable at times with his feet work, but he makes up for it with fantastic shot stopping, keeping Celtic in so many games and making sure the title returned to its rightful home of paradise. And moving on to another player who joined from Tottenham, it is Cameron Carter-Vickers, getting a massive +5 in my opinion, which would take him up to 74, just not quite gold. I wouldn't be surprised if he was a gold card, but I'm thinking, what will EA probably give him? I think a +5 to a 74 would be very nice, like the American centre-back Cameron Carter-Vickers. And speaking of centre-backs, let's talk about his partner, Carl Starfelt. Carl Starfelt I see going up as well, but not quite as much. I think he will probably know Carter-Vickers is probably seen as the better centre-back, even though I think it's not too far between them. I think Starfelt will get a +3 to 72, still would be pretty good on Silver Stars if you can link him up with that massive pace he's got, hopefully, if he had a shadow in that on him. And on the theme of silvers, a player that I also see not quite making the gold, it's Greg Taylor, getting a +3 in my opinion. On a 73 rated, not quite a FUT kind of player you'd use, as he doesn't really got the stats you want with the pace, but in career mode I'm sure he'd be fine in a Celtic career mode. And now we move on to the first gold upgrade of the video. It is Josip Juranovic, Mr. Fireball himself, getting a position change from right mid to right back and up to a 75. I went with exactly what EA have recently upgraded him to, as well as the picture. I think they've upgraded him like that for a reason, just so they can probably just copy and paste it over. Hopefully he goes up a little bit higher, but I'll still take a 75 rated player with a +4 for him, Mr. Fireball himself. And on the topic of golds, we move over to our captain, Callum Mcgregor, staying on gold, getting a +2 in my opinion. Maybe a bit alluring in pace, as it seems from the latest squad update in FIFA 22, but I think they'll round up the rest of his stats to make sure he gets that upgrade. And we stay on the theme of upgrading centre mid, as Matt O'Reilly gets a nation change, as well as a +5 in my opinion, as he now represents Denmark, of course, being a Danish centre midfielder now. A lot harder to link on FUT, but I'm sure on career mode he'll still be fantastic if you're wanting to use him. And now we move on to another upgraded centre midfielder. It's Rio Atati getting a position change, just like Juranovic, from left back to centre mid, and in my opinion getting a +3, quite well rounded. And I'm sure if you're using Celtic on kickoff or career mode of that, it's looking pretty good so far in my predictions. Now let's get into the attack of at least of our starting 11. We go over to Leo Labada, getting a +1. He only got added in the January, so I think he won't get a massive upgrade because he got added halfway through the season. But I think a +1 to a 73. He looks pretty usable for Silver Stars if you can try and link him up. Now on to the first striker of the video. It's Kyogo Furuhashi. I think he'll just miss it on gold. They didn't give him any special cards, so that's kind of how I justify how EA are going to give upgrades or not. For example with Tavernier and that, they usually get a few specials. He didn't get any, so I'm like, they'll probably say silver, but I think a +2 to a 74 is very much justified. Another one, if you can link them up maybe with a Bada, and that maybe have a pretty nice Celtic Silver Star team. And now back to gold upgrades. The man on the thumbnail, the man of why you've clicked on this video, Jota. I see him getting a massive +4 to a gold card. And maybe you might get him on your starter squad bench, but probably not the best for Ultimate Team. But hopefully some nice special cards to come, as well as being pretty good on career mode. And now let's go to the rest of the players who also play for Celtic. I'm not doing everyone in the squad, so they won't be Julian and that or Scott Bain, even though they'd probably be downgrades. But let's move on to Giacomakis, who I see getting a +1. He should probably get more than a +1, but I don't see it happening. I see him may get into a 75. He definitely should not stay the same range. He should go up. He's had 3 special calls, which kind of gives me an indication that he'll go up. It's just how much, and I think a 75 because EA just see it as Scottish football. So a 75 for the league top goal scorer. And now on to another new boy who joined in the January. It is Maeda, and just like the other Japanese boys, I see him getting an upgrade. This time only a +1 to a 70 rating. He'll be rapid if you can try and link him up for your starter silver squads. And now the first downgrade of the video, it's James Forrest, a Celtic hero to all. I see him getting a -2 to a 73, so not the biggest downgrade, but I don't think he's done enough to retain that gold card, and probably will go down to a 74. Now moving to a player who is probably going to retain his rating in my opinion, David Turnbull. If he didn't pick up any injuries this season, I think, or last season should I say, I think he would have went into that 75, 76, 77 rating kind of area, but with that injury and still pretty good season when he was playing, I just think Turnbull will stay the same rating. There may be some stats will change on him, but I think the rating will stick. And now probably the biggest upgrade there is in the Celtic squad, there should be Anthony Ralston, in my opinion, will go up to a silver card. And a 71 I think would be very fair for Ralston. Probably could be higher if EA rated the Scottish League higher. I think all the players in the league should be higher rated, but Ralston at 71 I think is pretty realistic with a +7 on last year's card for the Bricky. And now we move on to Maurice James, who's on loan at the club from Lorient. I've just went with what the squad update was, and they gave him a +1 in the squad update in the most recent FIFA 22 one, so I'll go with that because I didn't really watch him last season, so can't really comment too much on the German centre-back. But for Celtic, he's looked very good so far. And now another new boy, it's Seagrass, and I see him keeping his rating because I don't know if he's done enough for EA to rate a keeper out with Celtic and Rangers high enough to get into that 71, 72, like the very high rated the silver. So I think he may retain his rating, however, he probably could justify maybe a 71 rating, but I think a 74, the Swiss keeper, the number 2 for Celtic, would be quite fair. But anyways, thank you for watching, I'll see you guys next time, goodbye.